The gym fell silent as Jason's voice echoed through the microphone. She's been lying to all of you, she's a millionaire. Gasps, phones raised, whispers spreading like fire. My heart slammed in my chest as every eye in the room turned toward me. In that moment, my entire secret life shattered, and I realized nothing would ever be the same again. At school, I blended in like everyone else. My jeans weren't designer, my shoes had scratches, and my backpack was old. Nobody suspected what my life was really like. I lived in two worlds. At school, I was just that quiet girl, but at home, I returned to a mansion worth more than the entire neighborhood combined. My parents always told me to keep our wealth hidden. People treat you differently when they know, my mom said. I believed her, so I kept quiet. Every morning, I asked the driver to drop me a few blocks away from school. I didn't want anyone seeing the black car with tinted windows. Lunch at school was my biggest act. While others carried trays from the cafeteria, I brought a simple sandwich from home. Nobody knew it came from a private chef. My best friend, Emily, thought we were exactly the same, both average girls trying to survive high school. If she knew the truth, would she still treat me the same? The truth was heavy. Sometimes, while walking the hallways, I felt like I was carrying a giant secret on my shoulders, but I couldn't risk letting it out. During group projects, kids complained about not having laptops. I nodded and pretended I had the same struggles. They didn't know I had 3 MacBooks sitting untouched. Birthdays were the hardest. When my friends got gift cards, I got jewelry worth more than their houses. I never wore it outside. It stayed locked away. On weekends, my family hosted parties. Celebrities and business owners filled our mansion. I usually hid upstairs, afraid one day a classmate would show up and recognize someone. I didn't lie, I just never told the full truth. When asked where I lived, I said, "Oh, near the park." Nobody guessed it was the gated side. Once, Emily asked to come over after school. My heart raced. I quickly told her my parents were renovating the house. The lie slipped out too easily. The guilt ate at me. I hated lying to my best friend, but every time I thought of telling her, my parents' warning echoed in my head. I kept a low profile at school events. While others cheered for new phones or sneakers, I clapped quietly, knowing I had more but couldn't show it. But keeping secrets is exhausting. One night, staring at the ceiling of my enormous bedroom, I wondered what it would feel like if people just knew the truth. That chance came unexpectedly. Our school announced a charity fundraiser. Everyone was asked to donate what they could. My parents immediately said, "You'll donate too." My stomach dropped. If I donated too much, people would notice. If I donated too little, I'd feel guilty. I needed a middle ground, but even that felt risky. The night of the fundraiser, Emily excitedly told me she was donating $20 she saved from babysitting. She was so proud. I forced a smile, feeling awful. At the event, kids handed over crumpled bills and coins. When it was my turn, my hands shook as I placed an envelope inside the donation box. Emily asked, "How much did you put in?" I quickly said, "Just 20, but she didn't notice the teacher's shocked face when she saw the stack of bills. The next day, whispers followed me in the hallway. "Did you see her donation? Where did she get that kind of money?" My chest tightened with panic. Emily frowned when she heard the rumors. "Why are people saying you donated hundreds?" My mouth went dry. I laughed it off, but her eyes narrowed with suspicion. That was the first crack in my secret. From that day, I felt eyes on me. Every move I made was being watched more closely than before. Things got worse when a teacher pulled me aside. "Your generosity is inspiring," she said. "Would your parents like to attend our school board dinner?" My heart dropped. I walked home that day feeling like my double life was collapsing. For the first time, I wondered if hiding was even possible anymore. That night, I overheard my parents talking about the teacher's invitation. "We can't risk exposure," Dad said firmly. "If the school finds out, everything changes for her." I lay in bed, staring at my ceiling chandelier, thinking about how exhausting it was to hide. Sometimes I wished I could trade wealth for freedom. The next day, Emily cornered me at lunch. "You're hiding something," she whispered. My heart skipped a beat. I forced a laugh, but inside I was trembling. "Why don't you ever invite me over?" she asked again. Her eyes searched mine. I mumbled something about family rules, but I could tell she didn't believe me. Later that week, I saw classmates whispering while glancing my way. Their eyes lingered on my clothes, my shoes, and even the notebook I carried. Suspicion grew. One boy, Jason, smirked and asked loudly in class, "So, how much money do you really have?" Everyone laughed, but his question felt like a knife. I turned red and shook my head. "I don't know what you're talking about," I muttered. But deep down, I knew they wouldn't stop digging anytime soon. That afternoon, Emily avoided me. She sat at another table with other girls. My chest ached, wondering if my best friend was slipping away because of secrets. At home, Mom noticed my mood. It's starting, isn't it? She asked softly. I nodded, fighting tears. She hugged me but reminded me not to let anyone in. A week later, our school announced a field trip to a museum downtown. Emily asked if I'd ride the bus. I couldn't. My parents insisted on the driver. I lied, saying I had a dentist appointment after the trip. But when the sleek black car picked me up, Jason spotted me through the bus window. The next morning, everyone knew. Who gets picked up in a private car? Jason taunted. What's next? A helicopter. Laughter filled the hallway. I wished the ground would swallow me. Emily finally confronted me in private. Just tell me the truth, she begged. Are you rich? Her eyes weren't angry, just hurt, like I had betrayed her. I froze. Telling her felt impossible, but lying again would only push her further. Emily, it's complicated, I whispered. She stared, waiting, but I walked away. Rumors spread faster. Kids claimed they saw me in luxury stores downtown. Others said my dad owned half the city. Each story exaggerated the truth even more. For the first time, people treated me differently. Some classmates suddenly wanted to sit with me. Others glared, jealous and cold. I missed being invisible. Teachers started noticing too. You should consider leadership roles, one said. But I knew it wasn't my grades. They thought money made me special. It felt fake and hollow. At lunch, Emily still kept her distance. She laughed with other girls, but sometimes her eyes darted toward me. It hurt more than anything anyone else said. I wanted to scream the truth, to tell everyone I was still the same girl, still ordinary in every way that mattered. But nobody would believe me. Things boiled over at gym class. Jason shouted across the court, "Hey, princess, don't break a nail." Everyone laughed. My cheeks burned as I fought back tears. After class, Emily followed me into the locker room. Why didn't you just tell me? She asked quietly. Her voice cracked, and I realized I might lose her forever. Tears welled in my eyes. Because I didn't want you to treat me differently, I whispered. Silence hung between us. Emily's expression was unreadable, her trust shaken. That night, I sat in my massive bedroom, staring at the glowing city skyline outside my window. My mansion felt like the loneliest place in the world. I scrolled through social media and saw classmates posting memes about me. Photoshopped crowns, dollar signs, and mocking captions. My secret had turned into entertainment for everyone. For the first time, I wished I could switch lives with someone else, anyone else. Being a millionaire wasn't the dream everyone thought. It was a prison of secrets. The next morning, my locker was covered with sticky notes. Some read "rich girl" while others said "buy me lunch." I peeled them off, holding back tears. Emily approached, but before I could speak, she muttered, "This isn't you anymore." Then she walked away. My chest felt heavy, like I had lost everything. During math class, Jason raised his hand and asked if the school could fundraise by asking the millionaire in the room. The entire class laughed at my expense. The teacher silenced them, but her eyes lingered on me too long. Even authority figures looked at me differently now. I wasn't just a student anymore. That afternoon, I begged my parents. Can't I just tell the truth? But they shook their heads. It's dangerous, Dad said. People change when they know. One evening, Emily showed up at my gate unexpectedly. The guards wouldn't let her in, but I heard her shouting my name. My heart shattered. I rushed outside, pleading with security. Emily's face was pale, her eyes wet. "So, it's true," she whispered. I opened my mouth, but words refused to come. She turned away before I could explain. Watching her disappear into the night was worse than any rumor. I wanted to run after her, but I froze. At school the next day, whispers became open stares. Even teachers avoided eye contact. I wasn't a girl anymore. I was a story, an exaggeration. Jason threw fake dollar bills at my desk during history. The paper fluttered around me like confetti, and the whole class erupted in cruel laughter. I sat there silently, my cheeks burning. For the first time, I felt ashamed of something I never chose: my family's money. It felt like a curse. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed Emily's face over and over. She had been my anchor, and without her, I was completely adrift. The next morning, I overheard two girls talking in the bathroom. "She's probably only here because her family bought the school," one sneered. Lies spread faster than truth. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, barely recognizing the girl staring back. Same eyes, same hair, but the world saw me as something else entirely. Rumors reached my parents too. At dinner, Mom asked if I wanted to switch schools. "It might be easier," she said. I shook my head firmly. Running away wasn't an option. If I switched schools, the story would follow me. If I stayed, maybe I could prove I was more than money. The school announced a charity event. Of course, all eyes turned to me. Jason joked, "Guess we don't need donations now." Laughter echoed across the auditorium. Emily was sitting a few rows behind. Our eyes met briefly, but she quickly looked away. The distance between us felt wider than the entire gym. Determined, I signed up to help with the event. I wanted to prove I wasn't just a wallet. I was capable of real effort. At the planning meeting, nobody spoke to me at first. They whispered to each other but avoided my table. My stomach twisted, but I refused to leave. Finally, one girl, Hannah, handed me a clipboard. "You can help organize the donations," she said. Her voice wasn't kind, but it was something. I clung to it. The week leading up to the event was grueling. I carried boxes, sorted supplies, and stayed late every day. My hands ached, but I kept working. Some students began noticing. They muttered, "She doesn't have to be here," but slowly, their expressions shifted from suspicion to surprise. Maybe, just maybe, I was changing minds. On the night of the event, the gym buzzed with excitement. Tables of donations lined the walls. I wore simple clothes, nothing flashy, hoping to blend in. But then, disaster struck. Jason stood on stage, microphone in hand. "Let's thank our biggest donor, the secret millionaire in our school." The spotlight turned directly onto me. The spotlight blinded me. The crowd gasped. Jason smirked as whispers erupted like wildfire. My heart pounded, throat tight. I wanted to disappear, but I stood frozen. The principal rushed up, grabbing the mic, but it was too late. Phones were raised, recording me capturing the moment my secret shattered in public. I ran out of the gym, breath sharp, hands trembling. The hallway echoed with my footsteps as tears blurred my vision. I couldn't breathe. Emily found me outside, sitting on the steps. She hesitated before sitting beside me. Silence stretched, heavy with everything unsaid. Finally, she whispered, "Why didn't you tell me?" My voice cracked. "I didn't want to lose you. I wanted you to like me for me, not for money." My hands shook uncontrollably. Her eyes softened, though doubt lingered. "You should have trusted me," she said quietly. "Do you know how it feels hearing rumors before the truth?" I lowered my head, guilt pressing on me. I was scared, I admitted. Scared everyone would see me differently. Emily's silence hurt worse than any rumor. At home, my parents were furious. "You should have stayed away from the event," Dad said. Mom worried about safety. I curled up, feeling smaller than ever. The next day, news spread faster than ever. Pictures, videos, whispers. It seemed the entire town knew. Strangers stared at me as if I was on display. At school, students treated me like royalty. Some suddenly wanted to be my best friend, others demanded I buy them things. Their fake smiles made me sick. Jason strutted toward me. "Guess I did you a favor," he sneered. "Now everyone knows you're important." His grin was smug, cruel, and unforgivable. My fists clenched. For once, I didn't back down. "All you did was prove how small you are, Jason. Money doesn't make me better or you worse." Students nearby heard, whispering. For the first time, I felt power and honesty. I wasn't hiding anymore. Jason's smirk faltered as my words hit harder than money. Later, I found Emily by her locker. I stood nervously, holding my breath. "I'm sorry," I said again. "Please, can we start over?" She studied me for a long time, then sighed. "I don't care about your money. I care that you didn't trust me. Prove I matter more." Her words stung, but they were fair. From that moment, I decided money wouldn't define me, my actions would. I would prove myself piece by piece. Over the next weeks, I worked harder than ever at school. Group projects, volunteering, helping classmates. I poured myself into being present, not distant. Students slowly noticed. They began speaking to me without expectation. A few even apologized for how they treated me. Still, the shadows of rumor lingered. Emily started talking to me again, cautiously. We laughed once briefly, and the sound felt like sunlight breaking through clouds after a long storm. Jason, however, grew bitter. He tried new rumors, but fewer people listened. His cruelty was losing its grip, and it showed in his frustrated glares. One afternoon, during debate club, I gave a speech about integrity. My voice didn't shake, my words were clear. "We are more than what we own." Applause filled the room, genuine and strong. Emily was clapping too, smiling not at my secret, but at me. I knew, in that moment, I was finally seen. At home, my parents noticed the change. "You've grown stronger," Mom said softly. For the first time, I wasn't hiding behind their wealth. I was standing on my own. The final week of school, Emily and I sat under the old oak tree. She leaned against me and whispered, "You've proven it. You're still you." Looking at her, I smiled with relief. "No one suspected I was a millionaire," I said quietly, "but now, I don't need them to. They know